Hi everyone. This is another day, and today I'm here with a new book that is The Compound Effect. Actually, nobody commented about the book, so I've decided this book just came today, so I've decided to read this book today. So, from today, we will read this book, and I'll focus on reading 10 pages each day, like earlier. So, let's go. Wait for a minute. So there is a quote. Hi, hello. So there is a quote. No matter what you learn, what strategy or tactic you employ, success comes as the result of the compound effect. Thank you. There is a message and I'm going not going to read it. Let's so the compound effect. So chapter 1, the compound effect in action. You know that expression, slow and steady wins the race. Ever heard the story of the tortoise and the hare? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the tortoise. Give me enough time and I will beat virtually anybody, anytime, in any competition. Why? Not because I'm the best or the smallest or the fastest. I'll win because of the positive habits I've developed along with the consistency I use in applying those habits. I'm the world's biggest believer in consistency. I am living proof that it's the ultimate key to success. Yet, it's one of the biggest pitfalls for people struggling to achieve. Most people don't know how to sustain it. I do. I have my father to thank. I have my father to thank for that. In essence, he was my first coach for igniting the power of the compound effect. My parents divorced when I was 18 months old. And my dad raised me as a single father. He wasn't exactly. Page number 2, the soft, nurturing type. He was a former university football coach and he hardwired me for achievement. Thanks to that, wake up calls were at 6 o'clock every morning, not by a loving tap on the shoulder or even the sound of a radio alarm. No, I was awakened each morning by the repetitious pile driving sound of iron pounding on the concrete floor of our garage situated next to my bedroom. It was like waking up 12 feet from a construction zone. He'd painted a huge no pain, no gain sign. Thank you, bro. Once again, thank you. Thank you. Where I was, he'd painted a huge no pain, no gain sign on the wall of the garage, which he stared at while doing countless old school strongman deadlifts, power cleans, lunges, and squats. Rain, sleet, or shine, Dad was out there in his shorts and tattered sweatshirt. He was never missed a day. You could set your watch by his routine. I had more chores than a housekeeper and gardener put together. Upon returning from school, there was always a list of instruction to greet me. Pull weeds, rake leaves, sweep the garage, dust, vacuum, do the dishes, you name it. And getting behind in school wasn't tolerated. That's just the way it was. Dad was the original no excuses guy. He weren't ever allowed to stay home from school sick. We weren't ever allowed to stay home from school sick unless we were actually puking, bleeding, or showing bone. The term showing bone came from his coaching days. His players knew they weren't allowed to come out of the game unless they were seriously injured. One time, his quarterback asked to be pulled out of the game. Dad said, "Not unless you are showing bone." The quarterback pulled back his shoulder pads, and sure enough, his collarbone was showing. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Just trying to be consistent. Okay. So you name it, and no, what was it? Not unless you're showing bone. The quarterback pulled back his shoulder pads, and sure enough, his collarbone was showing. Only then was he allowed to come off the field. Page number 3. One of Dad's core philosophies was, by the way, Kansha, it's a new book. It's the power of the compounding effect. Okay, atomic habit is over. Finally. Thanks to YouTube and you guys. Thank you for supporting me all the time. So, page number 3, one of Dad's core philosophies was, it doesn't matter how smart you are or aren't. You need to make up you need to make up in hard work what you lack in experience, skill, intelligence, or innate ability. If your competitor is smarter, more talented, or experienced, you simply need to work 3 or 4 times as hard. You can still beat them. Are no, I was already reading the book, so I was almost done. It was only 30 to 40 pages left. So, yeah, that's why only completed in 3 days. Since April, I was trying to read this book. I started this book in April, but because of all this lack of consistency, but finally, it's thanks to YouTube. Yeah, seriously, this live works. And even if nobody is watching me, I am completing reading my book. So it's very good and it makes me happy. Yeah. So where I was, if your competitor is smarter, more talented, or experienced, you simply need to work 3 or 4 times as hard. You can still beat them. No matter what the challenge, he taught me to make up in hard work wherever I might be disadvantaged. Sorry. Miss free throws at the game. Do 1000 free throws every day for a month. Not good at dribbling with your left hand, tie your right hand behind your back and dribble 3 hours a day. Behind in your math. Hunker down, hire a tutor and work like hell all summer until you get it. No excuses. If you weren't good at something, work harder, work smarter. He worked his talk too. He walked his dog too. Yeah, you're correct. Dad went from being a football coach to a top salesman. From there, he became the boss and ultimately went on to own his own company. But I wasn't given loads of instruction from the beginning. Dad let us figure it out. He was all about taking personal responsibility. He didn't hammer on us every night about homework. We just had to show up with the results. And when you did, you were celebrated. If you if we earned good grades, Dad took us to Pring's, an ice cream parlor where you could get these king banana splits, six scoop of ice cream, and all the fixings. Many times my siblings didn't fare as well in school, so they didn't get to go. Getting to go was a big deal, so you worked your butt off to win the trip. Death discipline served as an example for me. Dad was my idol, and I wanted him to be proud of me. I also lived in fear. Page number 4, fear of disappointing him. One of his philosophies was be the guy who says no. It's no great achievement to go along with the crowd. Be the unusual guy. Be the exception. The inspiration for my company's tagline today. That's why I never did drugs. He never harped on me about it, but I didn't want to be that guy who just went along because everyone else was doing it, and I didn't want to let Dad down. Thanks to that, by age 12, I'd mastered a schedule worthy of the most efficient CEO. Sometimes I gripped and moaned. I was a kid, but even then, I secretly liked knowing that I had an edge over my classmates. Dad gave me a serious head start on the discipline and mentality it takes to be dedicated and responsible to achieve whatever I set out to achieve. Dad and I joked about what an addictive overachiever he trained me to be. At 18, I was making a six figure income in my own business. By age 20, I owned my own home in an upscale neighborhood. By age 24, my income grew to more than 1 million a year. And by age 27, I was officially a self made millionaire with a business that brought in more than $50 million in revenue. Today, I have enough money and assets to last my family the rest of my life. There are lots of ways to screw up a kid. Dad would say, at least my way was a pretty good one. You seem to have done pretty well. So, while I admit I've had to practice sitting on my hands and being present in the moment or chilling out peacefully in a beach chair from time to time without taking a pile of business books or self improvement audios with me, I'm grateful for the success skills I learned from my dad and my another mentor along the way. Page number 5. The compound effect reveals the secret behind my success. I'm a true believer in the compound effect because Dad made sure I lived it each and every day until I couldn't live any other way if I tried. But if you're like most people, you are not a true believer. There are lots of perfectly understandable reasons why. You haven't had the same coaching and example showing you to do. You haven't experienced the payoff of the compound effect. As a society, we haven't experienced the as a society we have been deceived. We've been hypnotized by commercial marketing, which convinces you of problems you don't have and sells you on the idea of insta fixes cure them. We've been socialized to believe in the fairy tale endings found in movies and novels. We've lost sight of the good, old fashioned value of hard and consistent work. Let's examine these hurdles one by one. You haven't experienced the payoff of the compound effect. It's another heading. The compound effect is the principle of reaping huge rewards from a series of small, smart choices. What's most interesting about this process to me is that even though the results are massive, the steps in the moment don't feel significant. Whether you are using this strategy for improving your health, relationships, finances, or anything else, for that matter, the challenges are so subtle they are almost imperceptible. These small changes offer little or no immediate results, no big win, no obvious I told you so payoff. So why bother? Most people get tripped by the simplicity of the compound effect. For instance, they quit after the 8th day of running because they're still overweight, or they stop practicing the piano. Page number 6. Piano after 6 months because they haven't mastered anything other than chopsticks, or they stop making contributions to their IRA after a few years because they could use the cash and it doesn't seem to be adding up too much anyway. What they don't realize is that these small, seemingly insignificant steps completed consistency over time will create a radical difference. Let me give you a few detailed examples. Sm- um, Small, smart choices plus consistency plus time equal to radical difference. And then it's a heading, the magic penny. If you were given a choice between taking $3 million in cash this very instant and a single penny that doubles in value every day for 31 days, which would you choose? If you've heard this before, you know the penny gambit is the choice you should make. You know it's the course that will lead to greater wealth. Yet, why is it so hard to believe choosing the penny will result in more money in the end? Because it takes so much longer to see the payoff. Let's take a closer look. Let's say you take the cold, hard cash and your friend goes the penny route. On day 5, your friend has 16 cents. You, however, have $3 million. On day 10th, it's 5.2 versus your big bucks. How do you think your friend is feeling about her decision? You are spending your millions, enjoying the heck out of it, and loving your choice. After 20 full days, with only 11 days left, Penny Lane has only 5,243. How is she feeling about herself at this point? For her sacrifice and positive behavior, she has barely more than 5,000. You, however, have 3 million. Then the visible magic of the compound effect start to become visible. This the same page number 7, the same small mathematical growth improvement each day makes the compounded penny worth 10,000 10 7. Oh my god. How to pronounce it? 10,737 418 or what? Okay, forget it. On day 31, more than 3 times your okay, more on day 31, more than 3 times your 3 million dollar. Okay. In this example, we see why consistency over time is so important. On day 29, you've got 3 million. Penny Lane has around 2.7 million. It isn't until day 30 of 31 day race that she pulls ahead with 5.3 million. And it isn't until the very last day of this month long ultra marathon that your friend blows you out of the water. She ends up with, again, a big number compared to your 3 million. Very few things are as impressive as the magic of compounding pennies. Amazingly, this force is equally powerful in every area of your life. Here, another example. Three friends. People are wishing me happy birthday. Okay. Three friends. Okay. It's another heading. Let's take three buddies who all grew up together. They live in the same neighborhood with very similar sensibilities. Each makes around $50,000 a year. They're all married and have average health and body weight, plus a little bit of that dreaded marriage flap. Friend number one, let's call him Laddie, plods along, doing as he always done. He's a happy, or so he thinks, but complains occasionally that nothing ever changes. Friend number two, Scott, starts making some small, seemingly inconsequential positive changes. He begins reading 10 pages of a good book per day and listening to 30 minutes of something instructional or inspirational on his commute. That's me. Scott wants to see changes in his life but doesn't want to make a fuss over it. That's me. That's me. Okay. He recently started page number 8, guys, listening to the Darren Daily On Demand podcast and choose on one idea from one recent podcast to implement in his life. He is going to cut 125 calories from his diet every day. No big deal. We are talking maybe a cup of cereal less. Trading that can of soda for a bottle of seltzer, switching from mayo to mustard on his sandwich. Doable. He's also started working a couple thousand extra steps per day, less than a mile. No grand acts of bravery or effort. Stuff anyone could do. But Scott is determined to stick with these choices, knowing that even though they are simple, he could easily be tempted to abandon them. Friend number 3, Brett makes a few poor choices. He recently bought a new big screen TV so he can watch more of his favorite programs. He's been trying out the recipes he's seen on the Food Network. The cheesy casseroles and desserts and his favorites. Oh, and he installed a bar in his family room and added one alcoholic drink per week to his diet. Nothing crazy. Brad just wants to have a little fun and relax a bit more during the week. At the end of 5 months, no perceivable difference exists between Larry, Scott, or Brad. Scott continues to read a little bit every night and listen to audios during his commute. Brad is enjoying life and doing less. Larry keeps doing as he always has, even though each man has his own pattern of behavior. 5 months isn't long enough to see any real decline or improvement in their situations. In fact, if you compare the weight of the three men, you'd see a rounding error of zero that look exactly equal. At the end of the 10 months, we still can't see noticeable changes in any of their lives. It's not until we get to the end of the 18 months. Page number 9, guys. 18-month that the slighted differences are measurable in these three friends' appearances. But at about month 25, we start seeing really measurable, visible differences. At month 27, we see an expensive difference, and by month 31, the change is startling. Brad is now fat while Scott is trim. By simply cutting 125 calorie a day in 31 months, Scott has lost 33 pounds. So 31 months equal to 940 days. 940 days into um, multiplied by 125 calories per day equal to 1000 1,17,500 calories. So 11,000, sorry, 1,17,500 calories divided by 3,500 calories per pound equal to 33.5 pounds. Bread ate only 125 more calories more a day in that same time frame and gained 33.5 pounds. Now he weighs 67 pounds more than Scott, but the difference are more significant than weight. Scott's invested almost 1000 hours reading good book and listening to self-improvement audios. By putting his newly gained knowledge into practice, he's earned a promotion and a raise. Best of all, his marriage is thriving. Brad, he's unhappy at work and his marriage is on the rocks. And Larry's pretty much exactly where he was 2.5 years ago, except now he's little more bitter about it. The phenomenon of the compound effect is that simple. The difference between people who employ the compound effect for their benefit compared to their peers who allow the same effect to work against them is almost inconceivable. It looks miraculous like magic or quantum. Last page, page number 10. Quantum leaps after 31 months or 31 years. The person who uses the positive nature of the compound effect appears to be an overnight success. In reality, his or her profound success was the result of small, smart choices completed consistently over time. It makes me so happy after reading this because, I've been trying to inculcate small changes in my life since 2 3 years, and maybe these are not visible in my life right now, but after 10 years it will be. So yeah, it makes me extremely great, but there are few areas is not that good, but I'm still happy because I now got a hope once again that yes, you are going on the right path and everything will change someday. Next. So, this is the last page. The ripple effect, another heading. The results in the above examples seem dramatic, I know, but it goes even deeper than that. The reality is that even one small change can have a significant impact that causes an unexpected and unintended ripple effect. Let's put one of Brad's bad habits under the microscope: eating rich food more frequently. To better understand how the compound effect can also work in a negative way and can create a ripple effect that impacts your entire life. Brad makes more muffins from a recipe he learned from the Food Network. He's proud. His family loves it. And it seems to add value all around. He starts making them and another sweets frequently. He loves his own cooking and eats more than his share, but not so much that anyone notices. However, the extra food makes Brad sluggish at night. He wakes up a little groggy, which makes him cranky. The crankiness and sleep deprivation begin to impact his work performance. He's less productive, and as a result get discouraging feedback from his boss. By the end of the day, he feels dissatisfied with his job and his energy level is down. The commute home seems longer and more stressful than ever. All of these makes him reach for more comfort food. Stress has a way of doing that. The overall lack of energy makes Brad less likely to take walks with his wife like he used to. He just doesn't feel like it. So it's page number 10 is over. We've already completed reading 10 page. थ्री फ्रेंड्स बट टू लाइक वीडियो के बीच में अनाउंस कर दीजिए लाइक और शेयर कमेंट तो आपको मोटिवेशन मिलती है किसने लाइक देने में कंजूसी की है only one only one person is live and only one like is there, so I guess आई डोंट नो ओके अगर आप लाइव देख रहे हो तो लाइक कर देना please like the video if you are watching the live. Guys, we've completed reading 10 pages already, but I still want to read. Okay, let's read one more page. Feel like it. She misses their time together and takes his withdrawal personally. With fewer shared activities with his wife and an absence of fresh air and exercise, Brad's not getting the Brad's not getting the endorphin release that had helped make him feel upbeat and enthusiastic. Because he's not as happy, he starts finding fault with himself and others and stops complimenting his wife. As his own body starts to feel flabby, he feels less confident. He feels less self-confident, less attractive and becomes less romantic. Brad doesn't realize how his lack of energy and affection towards his wife affects her. He knows that he feels funky. He starts losing himself at late nights TV because it's easy and distracting. Feeling his distance, Brad's wife starts to complain, then becomes needy. When that doesn't work, she mostly withdraws to protect herself. She's lonely. She pours her energy into her work and seems more time with her girl. Sorry. Sorry, guys. Starts okay. She pours her energy into her work and spends more time with her girlfriends to fulfill her need for companionship. Men start flirting with her, which makes her feel desirable again. She would never cheat on Brad, but he has a feeling of something's wrong. But instead of seeing that his poor choices and behaviors are at the root of their problems, he finds fault with his wife. Believing that the other person is wrong rather than looking inside and doing the work necessary to clean up your mess is basic psychology 101 stuff. Hey, like, I want to share this. See, so what this book is saying, what we mostly do, we don't look at our behaviors, our small, exactly like bread, our small behaviors, our small, activities affect our life, our relationship, our friendship, our, work, every single areas of our life. So we should, if we start improving, just by improving one area of our life, we'll be able to, it will help you to affect the other areas of your life in a positive manner. Like this, I'll repeat this line again, that believing that the other person is wrong rather than looking inside and doing the work necessary to clean up your mess is basic psychology 101 stuff. In Brad's case, he doesn't know to look inside. They don't offer self improvement or relationship advice on Top Chef or his favorite crime shows. The thought doesn't occur to him that if he had read the personal development books he studied Scott read, he might have learned about ways to achieve negative habits, learned about ways to change, learned learned about ways to change negative habits. Unfortunately for Brad, the small choices he made on a daily basis created a ripple that wreaked havoc on every area of his life. Page number 11 done. Okay, so this is the last page, page number 12. Of course, all that calorie counting and intellectual stimulation has had the opposite effect with Scott, who's now reaping the bounty of positive results. This is the repeating of simply daily disciplines versus simply errors in judgment. It's that simple. With enough time and consistency, the outcomes became visible. Better yet, they're totally predictable. The compound effect is predictable and measurable. That's great news. It's compounding. Isn't it compounding? Sorry, isn't it comforting to know you only need to take a series of tiny steps consistently over time to radically improve your life? Doesn't that sound easier than mustering up some grand show of bravery and heroic strength, only to wear yourself out and have to drum up all that energy again at a later date for another try, which will kill be unsuccessful, which will likely be unsuccessful. I'm exhausted just thinking about it, but that's what people do. We've been conditioned by society to believe in the effectiveness of a great display of massive effort. Heck, it's downright all American. See figure 1. Okay, we'll start tomorrow from page number 13. It's very good book, guys. I really loved it. Let's complete this book. Let's complete. I'm really excited. So finally we completed 12 pages. Good. Like, congratulations to you. Oh, you were studying with me as well. You were reading with me as well. So congratulations to me and to you too. It's a new book, and we've completed 12 pages. See you tomorrow. Bye bye. Have a good night, and thank you so much for all the lovely wishes. I love you all.